Now the government at the time, I believe it's pronounced Weimar, the Weimar Republic, they came into power after World War I. All right, and these people unfortunately were a liberal government, so pushing things like equal rights, homosexuality, transgender kind of things, not really beneficial stuff to rebuild the economy. I'm already puffing, lad. Only been walking a few steps. Completely covered in now, can't even see it. We will go down and walk through it. So yeah, you have the Weimar Republic not really doing anything to help Germany recover from World War I. And this is, for YouTube's sake, this is just facts and not opinion, okay? Unfortunately, most of the Jewish people at the time, they were a very small minority of the population, but they were well and truly overrepresented in things like politics, banking, media. They are very proficient at those areas of work, so I've got to show you the view while we have it, because it disappears quickly. Things that the Weimar Republic were focused on, little strange things like unemployment insurance. I mean, come on. I believe 30 to 40% of the population at the time in Germany were unemployed. That's a lot of people, man. So rather than looking at ways to fix this, you have insurance schemes, all of this strange stuff that is prioritized by the Republic. Whew, it's cold. Now, how bad was it? Well, to give you perspective, if you wanted to buy a loaf of bread in Germany, 1920s, you had to take a bloody wheelbarrow of cash. By the time you got there, you didn't have enough money to buy the loaf of bread. Not very good, right? Let's talk about some of the industries, some of the leading industries in Germany, especially in Berlin at the time. Berlin was known globally as the most immoral city in the world, mainly for its, of course, going on that term, the selling of bodies, so prostitution. There was anywhere from like a few 100,000 prostitutes at that time, all through the 1920s in Berlin. And it's hard to explain because it's pretty like gory stuff for YouTube, but I'm talking everything. We have child brothels, we have pharmacies that you can go into, and then you say you want some medicine, which was a key word for a child, and then you specify how long you've been sick for, and you can get that number delivered to you. Like, bro. And this is, unfortunately, the Jewish people, like I said, were overrepresented in a lot of the media, and like most of the writers for the like news publications and stuff were Jewish, the overwhelming majority compared to the minority that they were of the population, right? This is just fact, this is not opinion, okay, YouTube? And this liberal time in Germany, this is talked about pretty proudly by a lot of Jewish people, so it's not something that's like tried to be hidden, okay? Like if that's your political leaning towards, then so be it. You see that time as quite a progressive time. Please look this up on the internet, the Weimar Republic, what they're known for. It's called the Golden 20s, the cultural enrichment of society. Nothing like child brothels and open drug use on the streets. Nothing like that for cultural enrichment. You can't make this up, bro. I don't know what to tell you anymore. I mean, I could end the video here. Back to the video. But in terms of an overall societal benefit, especially trying to come out of like a Great Depression, not very good, man. You strip people down to having no morals, and yeah, you just get a degenerate city. Hence why Berlin was called the most immoral city in the world. I reckon we go up here a little bit more. I don't know what there's going to be. And then we go down and we'll go through the house. So this kind of work was everywhere, promoted in newspapers, like, you know, everywhere in society. Everywhere you went, you would see this form of human body selling work. I can give you an example. One of the icons at the time in society, a lady named Anita Berber. She was basically the star of the Weimar Republic, right? The famous one, the icon of society at that time. She died at 29 years old because of all the drug-related use. She was a dancer, known mostly for her obviously completely nude dances and all that kind of stuff. She was, of course, all through media. She was in films. She was everywhere. All of society knew her, and she was the projected role model of society. Like I said, she died at 29. Her daily routine consisted of cocaine and heroin, and that was the way to wake up. Don't know about you, but not a very good role model for society. So to give you an overview, right? That is a clear overview for you, and you can make your mind up of what society was like at this time prior to 1934, 1933. Society is slipping down this slippery slope of immorality. And with Anita Berber's, with her death in 1929, a lot of people were waking up and going, okay, we've got some issues here. Society is not working. Alright, let's go have a look through here. It's hella busy. It's very busy, so I might have to put the camera down in some spots. But the story continues. It gets worse, trust me, man. I can give you a representation of society at that time. There were two men, Ivan Bloch and Magnus Hirschfeld, both Jewish men. And they had opened basically a very strange sexual clinic undercover with the umbrella of science. The first transgender clinic in basically the Western world at that time. Let me explain more to you. It's very interesting. We go out this way, what do you reckon? Ah, it's a restaurant. Oh, wait. Thank you. Restaurant, you can have lunch up here. Sorry. Hectic. Alright, let's get out of here. Let me continue the story, it gets even worse. So Magnus Hirschfeld and Ivan Bloch, two Jewish men, the very first transgender clinic in Europe, or in the Western world, right? Very weird at the time, people. I know some of you might accept that now, but at that time, point in history, that is strange. So what was going on in this clinic? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you dig into this, it is quite awful stuff. Depending on your likings. Let there be 1,000 blossoms bloom, mate, for all I care. So these guys start doing transformer surgery. A lot of the patients are people from mental institutions, which is pretty rough. And to give you a representation of the government at the time, this was inbuilt into the school curriculum. The school curriculum was partly like going through this clinic. He had a huge clinic, like a big office with thousands of things on display, all the weird stuff you can imagine. He had thousands of books published, and this was part of the school curriculum. They took children through this and through his clinics, which is insane. So you can see the mindset of the government at the time, all right? Society is in a very strange position, depending on your views. This is not my opinion, YouTube. This is this is just facts. Now, not only do we have clinics like this, but also the government had legalized certain brothels and all that kind of stuff. So they were in with it. And it's not just the degeneracies of prostitution and all of that stuff that's going on. It's also drugs and crime. All of that is running rampant in Berlin. So it's like, you can see why it gets the name the most immoral city in the world. I don't think many of us could imagine it, to be honest. I think it's something that is actually beyond imagination.